there would be a clean sweep of the swing states, but I said, I don't know which one it would be. But I did think, I did feel going in, and I definitely felt like Trump had the momentum, and it was most likely going to be, if you made me pick one of the two, I would have said Trump, certainly. But I just had that feeling that this is just, these two candidates are just so different. They're so far apart that squishy middle just doesn't exist. And I knew that, one candidate was going to get the majority of the votes. It was going to be one way or the other. I just didn't see like that middle, like squishy, somebody wins 3 swing states, the other one wins 4. And that's exactly how it's playing out. Still no official call in Nevada or Arizona, which is beyond ridiculous and frustrating.
It's so stupid.
I mean, Nevada, Donald Trump is up 3 or 4 points in Nevada with 96% of the vote counted. I don't even think there's enough votes out there that would get Kamala Harris over the line. And you still can't convince me that if this was the other way, they would have, that if it was Harris that was up by this much, or just the Democrat period, up by this much at this point, it would have been called, not just today, it would have been called days ago. It's still beyond frustrating. And that was my biggest fear on election night. So again, Gabe and I talked early that night. So I don't know, because you have to get up so early. I don't know how late you stayed up. I don't know how late you stayed up. How late did you stay up? Did you stay up all the way, or did you wake up to the news?
I woke up to the news. Yeah. It was still, I think they were, he might have been 40 points or so on his way to the 270 magic mark there. So I saw the way a lot of the swing states were leaning based on the count totals and everything. And I was like, well, and I remember telling Janet as I was getting in bed, I'm like, it's like, I think I know where it's going, but I thought so in 2020
exactly.
Also. So hopefully it'll work out the way it's supposed to.
So that's my point. Yeah, that's my
speaking
point.
Of 2020, by the way, where did those 10 million votes go?
Yeah. No kidding.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah. Why were there so many more people voting? Why were there that many million more people voting in 2020? That's one of the big questions. And that exactly that situation, and what you talked about the feeling about 2020 is my point about why it was so important and why I'm so glad that it was so overwhelming. The whole too big to rig idea, because I was having major flashbacks standing here in the studio, because, I was in the same spot. I mean, different studio, but same, same thing 4 years ago. And suddenly, this also happened on Tuesday night, same thing that happened 4 years ago. We got to about midnight, and all of a sudden everything just stopped. You're watching all night long. You're watching, all these various states, all these various races, and some states, are counting a lot faster than others, but everything's moving. You're getting constant updates. You see the numbers moving in all these different states, and all of a sudden 4 years ago, they just all stopped. In Wisconsin, in Michigan, in Pennsylvania, in South Carolina, in Georgia. I'm talking about 2020. They just all stopped. And that same thing happened on Tuesday with Michigan and Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. Alaska was in that conversation on Tuesday night. And it just felt like, and then Kamala Harris sends out, her stooge to come out and tell people that she's not going to speak tonight, which is, exactly like when Hillary Clinton sent out Podesta in 2016. And I mean, like, you just had this, we're just having all these flashbacks, and I was literally wrapping up coverage because I thought, this is they're stopping.
No way.
She's going home. So she's obviously not going to concede or give a victory speech tonight, which means she doesn't think Kamala Harris is who I'm talking about, doesn't think there's going to be an answer. And I mean, I was minutes away from saying, tune back, like we'll keep an eye on it when Mike and Gabe and Stell be here at 5:30 and blah, 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 blah. And, and then all of a sudden Fox News and only Fox News at that moment called Pennsylvania. And then that put him right on the precipice. It gave him 267 at that moment. And then that's when it became a done deal, essentially, that, he was leading in every other state. And as soon as one of them got called, it would be over. And that was kind of what forced it. But it needed to happen on Tuesday night. I fear that had that not have happened, had it not been as overwhelming as it was, and had it not been called on Tuesday night, that we would have went through exactly what we went through 4 years ago. And maybe those 15 million votes showed up somewhere, and that would have been a problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm glad the way the whole thing went down. What about your thoughts about what happened here in the state of Missouri with Amendment 3, Amendment 2, Amendment 7? Any standout thoughts about the local races?
Well, obviously my heart breaks about the Amendment 3. And I can't say I'm particularly shocked, but I'm certainly upset that a state that delivered such an overwhelming victory to Donald Trump, that, basically a red wave, just even across the board, also went for Amendment 3. And it really, the Republican Party stance on abortion has been pretty clear for a good long while. So it lends a lot of credence to a lot of people saying that when the national Republican Party decided to remove its statement about abortion from the list there, that it kind of gave cover to a lot of people who would normally vote red to get a little squishy on that particular subject. So I'm still a little upset about that, but even more so than that, I'm upset at the Republican supermajority that should have given us IP reform, because a lot of these things would not have gone through. I mean, if you look at the threshold that IP reform would have given us, the only amendment that would have made it was Amendment 7, which was really, really good. That would have been the only thing that actually passed through of the amendments that came through last night, if IP reform had been taken up. So, my goodness, I'm really frustrated, and I'm basically declaring war on everybody who was an impediment to IP reform. So
yes, good.
I'm coming for you.
Every voter should. Every conservative Republican voter, and quite frankly, every Republican lawmaker should be waging war on their own party's leadership, because Amendment 3, you're so spot on, Gabe. Amendment 3 is a perfect example of all of the gross things about politics and about elections, because voters were lied to by the Democrats that were supporting the bill. They were lied to by the ads, and therefore, as you mentioned, the PACs and the various organizations that are funding the ads for the commercials for Amendment 3. Those ads were just flat lies, very misleading about Amendment 3 itself and about the current law in Missouri. So you've got that. The ballot language was misleading. So you got that on the pile. And then
written by judges, by the way,
right?
Not the Secretary of State.
Exactly. And then, as you mentioned, none of that even happens if Republicans in a state that has a super majority of Republican control, if Republicans would have just done their job in this past legislative session, or the year before, or the year before, or the year before, because that's how long this has been going on.
That's right.
And yeah, because I mean, IP reform is how Clean Missouri happened. IP reform was a big issue surrounding when Missouri legalized marijuana. I mean, this has been going on for years, and now here it is with this abortion issue. So, and so like, it's just every step of the way you can point at something that was just the dark, gross, bad thing about politics. Amendment 3 encompasses all of it. And as you also pointed out, a lot of Republicans, a lot of conservatives voted for Amendment 3 because the Republicans won so handily across the board. Every statewide office, governor, lieutenant governor, AG, treasurer, all of those races were won by comfortable double digits by the Republicans. Same way across the state with state rep seats and state Senate seats. Obviously, way more Republicans were voting in the state of Missouri on Tuesday, and Amendment 3 passed, which means a lot of Republicans voted for it, which is
exactly.
Yeah. How do you reconcile that this was passed by Republicans, not by the liberal Democrats? What needs to be done in your estimation, the message, the work that needs to be done by the Republican Party to, rectify something like this? Because obviously, like I said, a lot of conservatives, a lot of Republicans voted for Amendment 3.
It kind of goes along with what my quiet thoughts were during the campaign season, which was that I'm appreciative of the broad coalition that the Republican Party was trying to cultivate through the MAGA movement, essentially, and Donald Trump's presidency. He built a lot of bridges, and he crossed into a lot of territory that Republicans haven't even bothered with in a long time. Especially, if you look at just the Latino vote. For one, that was a huge inroads that his campaign managed to do. And I look at that, I say, okay, that's positive, but a lot of the people coming into the movement, a lot of the things that the movement is actually saying it's straying from typical conservative understanding of the world. It's veering into this sort of I won't say squishy, but certainly a populist rather than conservative way of looking at politics, and that needs to be corrected. So now that we've won the election, now that the bad guys have been beaten back and they've surrendered, they've raised the right flag, now it's time for conservatives, and pro-life conservatives in particular, as pertains to Amendment 3, to raise the battle flag in our own house and say, okay, you guys, we delivered you a victory, a political victory, but now you guys need to come to Jesus moment about the ideological underpinnings for what's going on here, what it means to be conservative, what it means to be a Republican.
I was talking to State Rep Justin Sparks. He was one of the many Republicans that had a massive victory on Tuesday, and he's not afraid to talk about it out loud. He knows that this is a Republican leadership, his own party. This is their problem, and we talked yesterday about if the Republicans in Missouri can't clean it up this time, I really, it's time to really start thinking about other things. Like, I think voters are going to start to turn on Missouri Republicans if they keep giving them this mandate and showing them all of this support and giving them every tool, overwhelming power to get things done, and they don't do it. I think it's time for the voters to really hold some people accountable if they don't get things done this year. So what's going to be?
Oh, absolutely.
That's going to be the next major, thing that we're following here in the state.
Yes, and I encourage all the listeners, get your email fingers ready and your dialing fingers ready to call some people, because you wouldn't think so, but your just one phone call, one email counts a lot, especially in these statewide areas, and especially the local seats. You start talking about this stuff, you raise a stink, and all of a sudden you might see some movement. And if not, we can always primary some people.
Yeah, there you go. That is Gabe Pfeiffer from Mike Ferguson in the Morning. You can hear Gabe with Mike and Stell every weekday starting at 5:30 a.m. You can also follow Gabe on his YouTube channel, St. John the Philosopher on YouTube. Gabe, as always, really appreciate your time today. Thanks for your help on Tuesday night as well. Have a restful weekend, my friend, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys. God bless.
Back at you. Great stuff there from Gabe Pfeiffer from Mike Ferguson in the Morning. All right, we're going to continue the conversation about election fallout. I want to go back out to the national picture and talk about what is happening across universities in the United States. College kids, adults being given milk and cookies and coloring books to help them cope with the results of this election?
I could use a coloring book just in general, but that's just me. It's like not for the election.
You know, you know what?
Friday stress relief.
I actually quite enjoy coloring still with my children, but it is not something that I need to get through my day.
Hey, I'll milk the mental health days that they want to give us all I can.
That's really interesting. And you know what? And you're going to be a big part of this conversation because you're living in that world. Exactly. That's producer Emily. She's here with me, of course, in studio. And we're going to continue the conversation with Danny Define from The Next Gen and Ken Williams from the Vic Porcelli Show next on Colombo Company.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Yes, I listen on my phone.
Download the News Talk STL app.
News Talk STL.
Streaming live on the mobile app.
It is awesome.
And listen anytime.
Love the News Talk STL app.
Anywhere.
Intervine.com, the website that has the best quality, best priced flashlights, lanterns, and headlamps available on the market. Local family-owned business. You guys hear Mike McCleary, the owner of Intervine. He is our AI, our tech expert here on Colombo Company. He's with us every Monday. Just a great guy, very smart, and, you know, local family-owned business that he started, Intervine, has grown into a national company because of the price and the quality of their products. Right now, it's a great time for outdoorsmen. It's a great time to be fishing. Hunting season's underway. Trapping season's right around the corner. If you're an outdoorsman that's looking for some, you know, heavy duty equipment out there with you, solid products, headlamps, lanterns, and things like that, they've got you covered. If you just need a small, reliable flashlight for your vehicle or for your home, they got you covered there as well. Intervine even has batteries in all different sizes. And right now you can get 25% off everything at intervine.com just by using my name, Tony, as your promo code. 25% off flashlights, lanterns, headlamps, and batteries in every size. You can stock up on batteries, 25% off by going to intervine.com and using my name, Tony, as your promo code. INTERVINE, intervine.com.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down. Get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Need reliable auto service from people you can trust? Look no further than Western Tire and Auto. For over 15 years, we've been your complete automotive repair center, family owned and operated, with owner Dean Cleathermes bringing 30 years of industry experience. At Western Tire and Auto, you're not just a customer, you're family. We promise 100% satisfaction, treating you with the transparency, respect, and honesty you deserve. Visit us in St. Peters or in Florissant. For appointments, call or check westerntireauto.com. Western Tire and Auto, your local automotive experts since 2008.
Attention food lovers. Craving authentic kosher cuisine? Head to Nate's Kosher Deli in the heart of Creve Coeur's culinary scene. Formerly Cones, Nate's is now under new ownership, offering an even greater selection of kosher items, from mouth-watering sandwiches to gourmet meats and fresh baked goods. There's something for everyone. Call 314-333-6283 or visit nateskosherdeli.com. Experience the difference at Nate's Kosher Deli today. And don't forget to mention News Talk STL sent you.
News Talk STL. Always streaming on your smart speaker, our mobile app, or newstalkstl.com.
Welcome back to Colombo Company on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. Rolling through a busy Friday afternoon. Friday always packed with great conversation and great guests. And every Friday we are joined by Ken Williams from the Vic Porcelli Show, who's in studio now. Great to see you, buddy.
Good afternoon and winning. Winning.
Thanks for being here and putting in a little overtime once again on a Friday afternoon. And also joining us is Danny Define from the Next Gen, which you can hear every Sunday night here on News Talk STL. Danny's on the line. Danny, how are you?
Tony, I'm doing fantastic. Happy Friday to you and the team there in the studio. And I feel like the sun's shining a little bit brighter. The food tastes better. And just have this extra bump of energy.
Yeah, the sky's a little bluer. Yeah.
Hey, Danny.
I got to tell you a quick story, Danny. That reminds me so much. I was just talking with Gabe Pfeiffer in that first segment, and we were talking about Tuesday night and how it played out and how it got late in the night, about 11:30, 12 o'clock, and I was having, and I think we all were having, major 2020 flashbacks because suddenly all of the votes from all of the various important states just stopped coming in. The numbers just stopped moving.
Yeah, that was weird.
And for like an hour, it just seemed like it had just come to a complete halt. And that's exactly what happened in 2020. And, and we ended up not getting an answer that night. And then obviously going home from that coverage in 2020 and, not knowing how things were going to play out for a couple of days. And I'm thinking to myself on Tuesday night, here we go again. As that's happening. But then, Danny, like what you just said about the sun rising a little brighter and the sky being a little bit bluer, when suddenly out of the blue, Fox News called Pennsylvania after this long pause of numbers, like, what are they waiting for? What are we doing? The mood in the studio, and especially Vic, who was sitting right where you're sitting, shoulders were slouched, head down, eyes tired. It's the middle of the night. We've been on the air for hours. He's exhausted. And then all of a sudden they call Pennsylvania and he's up dancing. he's spinning.
I wish I was in the studio to see that.
It went from like not doom and gloom, but just a tired, slow, low energy pace to
then he hopped up and he hopped up and
I
could see him on the screen. I was at home doing the chat box and I could see him bouncing back and forth, looking around. Hey, what about Alaska? What about Alaska? Alaska's 3 points, right?
All of a sudden, nobody wanted to go home anymore. Go ahead, Danny.
I'm picturing it right now. Vic just hopping up like the grandpa and Willy Wonka when he finds out he's going to the chocolate factory. Starts dancing around. Yeah, exactly. I had some friends text me on election night at 11 o'clock, 11:30. This is in the bag. Trump's up by this huge margin. I'm going to go to bed. And I'm like, guys, did you not learn anything from 2020? I would have stayed up, Tony, for 72 hours straight if I had to. I was not taking anything for granted. But if anything, Tuesday just showed us and showed everybody that this whole wokeness, DE&I, political correctness, walking on eggshells, all this crap that the left has pushed for almost a decade now. This has been going on. I was outspoken about this when I was in college back in 2015, 2014, and just saw how ridiculous and how far left a lot of the Democratic Party went. And I have been saying for years to more moderate Democrats, hey, you guys better separate yourself from this far left, radical, Marxist socialism type stuff, because you're going to see a massive blowback. And that's what we saw Tuesday night. I really think that was the nail in the coffin. Trump winning, and not just winning, but in such a decisive landslide and flipping the Senate. And it looks like we're going to hold on to the House as well, which I don't know why we don't have all of those results taken care of by now, but it looks good. But that was such a red wave, such a red tsunami. And I think we're on a path the next 4 years to really restore some common sense and just get back to the American way. None of this DE&I stuff, none of the wokeness, none of the victim mentality. Sure, you have people melting down right now on social media. I've actually been enjoying that the last few days. But it's ridiculous, though, to see, and a lot of these liberal women, too, I'm just going to have to say it, but they're screaming about the rights being taken away. Well, last time I checked, Tony, and I know you're not thrilled with this, I'm not either, but Amendment 3 passed in the state of Missouri, which gives us a pretty progressive liberal abortion law here in the state. And wasn't it the whole point of overturning Roe v. Wade was giving the power back to the states, letting the people vote on abortion? Some states are going to be more conservative. Some states are going to have more liberal, progressive policies. But you would think a lot of the women here in Missouri would be thrilled that Amendment 3 passed. And, okay, there you go. There's your abortion. That's the whole thing that you wanted to vote on. It wasn't the economy. It wasn't being on the brink of World War III. It wasn't the southern border crisis. You wanted to vote purely on abortion. Well, you got it here in the state of Missouri. So what? I'm scratching my head. What rights are being taken away now?
No, you're exactly right. And this they continue to paint this narrative of that a sexist, racist man was elected president. But the truth is, and to your point, Danny, of what you've outlined, there's not enough white guys to give Donald Trump the overwhelming victory that he had. Donald Trump won this race in the fashion that he won it because of women and because of black voters and because of Hispanic voters. So the narrative of
the Jewish vote,
and union members, all these people that that are supposed to be Democrats are the ones that elected Donald Trump in such a big way. Danny, you touched on college and you touched on some of this fallout that we've seen. And it leads me to this story that I wanted to talk to both of you about. And I want Emily to chime in on this as well, because this is the world that she lives in as a 20-year-old college student. Universities across the country have come under fire for canceling classes and providing safe spaces to students upset by Donald Trump's victory. Several universities across the country have canceled classes and provided safe places and mental health days for students to recover from the presidential election. It prompted a wave of criticism that these schools are not preparing students for the real world, which is so spot on. Example, Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. drew mockery this week on social media after it was revealed that they were providing college students, these are adults, college students, with what they called self-care suites. So you could go in your own little room, your little self-care suite, and they were providing these kids with Legos, hot cocoa, milk and cookies, and coloring books to help them deal with this election. And Ken, I want to get your thoughts, Danny. I want to get Ken's first because, like me, Ken has a daughter that is that age, and what they are doing to these kids. Gen Z has a lot of very strong, independent, smart people. Like, it's not like a generation full of snowflakes, but the colleges, these universities are trying to make them that. My daughter lives in Florida, works, moved across the country when she was 19 years old. Has that independent strength. She's finishing school. She's working a full-time job. She's 21 years old. This type of behavior from these universities are hurting these kids, like our kids. And, they're stifling that independent streak, by coddling them and saying, oh, everything's going to be okay. Here's some milk and cookies. This one hits me personally, and I know it does you too, Ken.
Yeah, I've got a daughter down in Rolla, and I've got another daughter who's traversing the country. She's on different assignments for the National Park Service. So, and she's doing it on her own. She's young. I mean, she's very young, and she's doing it all on her own. She's traveling everywhere.
Yeah.
And the big concern that I have about this whole thing, guys, is that these kids are going to get out of college because they're coddled so tightly. And the first bit of adversity that they face, they're going to fall apart, need therapy. They may not even survive it. They might kill themselves. They might throw themselves off a balcony.
They're going to go to their boss and ask where the self-care suite is at their job.
And the boss is going to say, get back to your desk and get to work.
Milk and cookies and coloring books.
Yeah. That to me is, I can't even fathom that, because I do have a daughter. She's on the work study program. She's doing things herself. She faces adversity every week with school. Maybe not as much as we do, everyday life, but she still faces it and she deals with it and moves on. And I asked both of them how they felt about the election. I don't ask them what they voted.
Yeah.
But they both said, well, it came out the way it was supposed to because most of America voted for them.
Yeah.
Okay. Regardless of what they voted for, I didn't ask them that. I asked them what their feelings were. And I really appreciated the fact that they survived it.
Yeah. Danny, your thoughts?
Well, I'm getting flashbacks right now. I feel like I'm in a Twilight Zone episode or something because I was, and I'll say this proudly, I don't want any recognition or kudos for this though, but I was one of the first people that had to go through this because I graduated from a big state university here back in the spring of 2016. So my senior year was the fall of 15, the spring of 16.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Right when the Trump
beginning of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Right in the thick of it. And I saw the meltdown there at my university. And I told people, especially like older people that were maybe a little bit disconnected with what's going on college campuses. I came back, I'll never forget, for Christmas break that year. And I told a lot of people, my parents, aunts, uncles, you would not believe what's going on these college campuses and this crybaby mentality, this wokeness, DE&I, everybody has to be in their safe space. And I remember that when I was in college, we had Ben Shapiro come up there and speak, and he had to be surrounded by like 10 security guards because these liberal students were so irate that a conservative speaker was even stepping foot on campus. And I always thought that college campus is supposed to be this place for free-flowing ideas, and you might disagree, but let's have a productive adult conversation about policy. And this is what I think, this is what you think. And it was completely the opposite. It was like this liberal stronghold, and the professors are the head of the snake. These are the ones, and of course, there's some great professors, but a lot of these professors, they're more concerned with shoving this indoctrination, this left-wing agenda down these kids' throats that are 18, 19 years old. And then they come out of college as these woke liberal zombies. So I saw that early on, almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I've been saying this, Tony, for years. I say it on my show on Sunday nights, The Next Gen with Dan Define at 8:00. For a little plug there.
Ding, ding.
But I've been warning Democrats, you got to separate yourself from these people because you're going to see a massive blowback. And again, I think Tuesday night, that was the final nail in the coffin. People are sick of it. Yeah, we're not going to cater to this. It truly is. And the numbers back us up on this. Those people, those crazy left radicals, you're in the minority. You don't, even though you screech the loudest and you like to bully people that don't agree with you, you're in the minority here. This is not your country. You're not calling the shots, and the people spoke. The people spoke this Tuesday.
Emily, I wanted to ask you about this because, like I said, Emily, this is the world that Emily lives in, and much like Ken's daughter and my daughter, Emily is one of the most impressive kids that I know. Independent, strong, not somebody that needs milk and cookies and a coloring book when something doesn't go your way. What do you like? Is this insulting to you, or is it?
Well, I mean, my school has not done that. I remember, I guess it wasn't the next day after the election. I take really I'm into my courses, so a lot of my classes are at really weird times, but most of my professors are liberal, and it would have been my next class after the election. So Thursday morning, I woke up. I knew we weren't doing anything in class that day anyway. I've never skipped that class. I go there sick all the time, and I'm like, I just don't want to hear it today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've got a migraine. Not going to make it, because it's like, I don't want to hear professors talk about it more so. Which, I mean, they're supposed to remain unbiased and all that, but they really don't. I mean, I read Lindenwood's policy on that because I know some people who really don't. And
do you feel like you would be punished if you gave your true opinion to these?
I don't know if they would
professors?
punish you via grades.
Grade wise.
Grade wise they won't. Grade wise they won't.
Okay. But you would be
I think
ostracized.
Yeah, there's definitely been cases of that at Lindenwood too. And that I can vouch for, that makes sense.
So are you, because this is what I'm afraid of, that it weakens your generation when you
give them as much as I would love
world, that it's not the real world.
I would love a day off, right? And a mental health break. I don't think that's legit for the real,
a mental
every
health break or
day.
day is a legitimate thing.
I don't know if you get those at real jobs.
That's when you get it for a real reason, a personal reason.
Yeah, exactly. Not just because of an election.
Exactly.
I mean, I'll be honest. I will take it if they want to give it to me. But
I get that.
I was on Professor Reddit because I was curious, like, what's going on, in their little subgroup on Reddit. I'm like, I bet they're all freaking out. And everybody was like, should I give my students a mental health day? Like all this. And I'm like, yes. I don't know.
I think,
go ahead, Dan. Only a couple minutes left. Final thoughts. Go ahead. Final thoughts.
Yeah,
Danny.
no, I would say it's actually having a rebound effect. You saw young voters. Trump did much better with young voters this go around than he did in 2020.
Yeah, he did.
And especially now with the mainstream media dying out and a lot of young people, they're not watching NBC News at night or CNN. They're on Twitter. That's where they're getting their news, or on X, I should say. So the Gen Z, I think the millennials, my generation back in 2015, 2016, I think it had a pretty substantial effect on that group, the millennials. But Gen Z, they're over it. We've been doing this nonsense now for over 10 years. And people are burnt out and they're going to rebel against it. And that's what we saw Tuesday night.
Ken, final thoughts after this busy week.
I think it's pretty amazing what happened. It was a red wave. It is a mandate. I think they're going to take the House. I think that Trump and Vance made some amazing decisions about using social media that we're talking about instead of just going strictly with the I guess the dinosaur media, whatever you want to call it, because I consider News Talk STL as part of the independent movement. Okay, and we are a part of. We're just as strongly on terrestrial radio as we are on social media platforms. So I think we're going in the right direction.
Remind folks where you and Vic are going to be on Monday morning.
Yeah, Monday morning we're going to be at the American Legion Post 208 in Manchester for Veterans Day, and it's Vic for Vets. We're going to be we're starting that campaign.
Fun show,
and it's going to be we're just going to start the Vic for Vets campaign, basically.
I love it. That's great. Make sure you tuned in Monday morning and every weekday morning, 9 a.m. to the Vic Porcelli Show, and that's where you'll find Ken Williams. And every Sunday night at 8 p.m. here on News Talk STL, The Next Gen with Danny Define. Danny and Ken, guys, thanks so much for your time this afternoon.
Always a pleasure. Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend.
You too.
See you guys.
Thank you so much. All right, we're going to dive back into the election fallout and wrap up the week with our old friend Paul Kurtman, former Missouri State Representative. He's going to join us in the 3 o'clock hour. But first, we got to get that all-important weekend forecast. Steve Templeton, chief meteorologist from Channel 4, joins us next on Colombo Company.
Danny Define here, host of the all-new show, The Next Gen, with me, Danny Define. We're going to cover all the hard-hitting topics on this show, from national headlines to things happening right here in St. Louis.
Next Gen with Danny Define, Sunday nights at 8.
Right here on News Talk STL.
Well, if it's time to sell the house, why don't you go with the realty team that already has home buyers who are approved and could buy your house right now? That would be the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway. Two great folks, Rodney and Jen Wallner, who happen to sell 15 times more homes per year than your typical realtor. And besides the husband and wife perspective that you get, you can also do it in Missouri or Illinois. Just call 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD.
Well, Vic, you're absolutely right, of course. I mean, here's my challenge. Just give them a call. Say, hey, Mike Ferguson was talking about you guys. Call Rodney and Jen, 314-810-SOLD. Because when you are making a decision on something as crucial as your home, as crucial as real estate, you want people who know what they're doing, but you want people who are ethical, easy to work with, and focus on empowering you to make the best decision. Give them a call, 314-810-SOLD.
Hey, it's Tony Colombo. Come see my band, Tony Colombo and the North County Sound Machine, featuring Katie Fitzpatrick, a tribute to Duran Duran, and Somebody to Love, a tribute to Queen. Saturday, November 30th at Diamond Music Hall, brought to you by Weber Chevrolet. Get your tickets now at diamondmusichall.com.
Looking for top quality tactical gear and expert advice? Look no further than Discount Tactical, your one-stop shop for all things firearms and self-defense. Located in the heart of Warrenton, we've been serving the community for 3 years with our friendly, professional, and knowledgeable staff. From custom AR builds and silencers to the largest selection of parts, we've got you covered. Self-defense weapons, SBRs, knives, ammo, custom holsters, weapon lights, optics, and body armor. Discount Tactical. Online at discounttacticalarmory.com or stop by today and gear up with confidence.
Tim Jones here with Eric from Newsteaders. Eric, believe it or not, the holidays are right around the corner. What are y'all doing over at the jewelry store?
Wow. Well, first I want to say don't let fine and fine jewelry confuse you. We have pieces starting at $100 that will keep your loved one happy for a lifetime and look like you spent thousands. And don't forget, Christmas is only a few months away. Get started early. We also have a wish list to ensure your loved one gets exactly what they want. And we're also bringing back a layaway program to make your life easier. Newsteaders Fine Jewelry is truly where honesty and integrity meet. We're all about quality at a fair price. Our goal is to guarantee that the gift you give will be loved for a lifetime. Come in and meet our professional staff that will put your needs above all else. There's never any pressure here, just an attentive family that listens and educates you to ensure you're completely happy and the gift you give is perfect.
Experience that fantastic Newsteaders difference today at wowdiamonds.com. Newsteaders Fine Jewelers, wowdiamonds.com.
Hey, Colombo here for Rockwood Charcoal. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
Steve Templeton's Weekend Forecast, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com.
Welcome back to Colombo and Company on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL. Great conversation there with Ken Williams from the Vic Porcelli Show and Danny Define from the Next Gen, which you can hear every Sunday night here on News Talk STL. Gabe Pfeiffer before that. Remember, if you want to make sure you never miss any of the great conversations here on the show, make sure you're subscribed to our podcast. We put the show out as a podcast right after we get off the air every day. We put it on basically every podcast platform, so wherever you get your podcasts, make sure you are also subscribed to Colombo and Company. All right, we'll dive back into the news and politics here in a few minutes, but we've got more important things to talk about, and that, of course, is the weekend forecast. Channel 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton on the line with us. And, Steve, I think it's a little topsy-turvy this weekend, right?
Yeah, we've got some more rain for at least part of the weekend. It's like a 50-50 weekend, right?
Okay.
Saturday's the rain, Sunday is sunshine, a little warmer. So making plans for outdoors, Sunday's your better bet.
All right. Yeah. Just give me one day and during the weekend, and I'm a happy guy. Walk us through it, sir.
No worries. So we are going down to about 49 for the low tonight. It's not going to warm up a whole lot tomorrow because of the clouds and rain, 59 for the high. And I wouldn't be surprised if by mid-morning, but especially late morning, we start to see the first raindrops here in St. Louis. So mid to late morning, watch for a few showers, especially the afternoon to early evening, that noon through 7 p.m. That's when we'll get the bulk of our rain, which will add up to about 1/4 of an inch to an inch. So that's solid rainfall, but it's not going to renew any flooding. It might slow the fall of the Merrimack, but it's not going to cause new flooding. But it will make for, hydroplaning on the roads at times, the afternoon to evening on Saturday, and some wet roads. But again, cool and wet, 59 for the high. I do expect that rain to end before the Mizzou game as they take on OU over in Columbia. So maybe a little drizzle early on, or tailgating might be a little wet, but I expect that game to be dry when they're playing. So overnight into Sunday, a couple lingering showers may last into pre-dawn hours, but then it dries out by daybreak Sunday, and it turns mostly sunny as the clouds move out. 67 for the high. So 59 in rain Saturday, 67 in sunshine Sunday.
Man, that 67 in sunshine, it just sounds absolutely beautiful. So like I said, just give me one and I'll take it. So that rain is pretty much all day, right? It's off and on at least all day tomorrow.
It's all afternoon, I would say. Again, it starts late morning. Like if you were going to try and do something outdoors and maybe got up at 6, 7, walk the dog, you might be okay. I think you would be. But by about 10, 11 a.m., I would expect scattered showers in the area and probably not exiting till later in the evening.
Gotcha. So that in mind, I think we touched on this last week. I know I was talking to somebody about this. It was the weather. It was probably you. It's been a busy 7 days, Steve. But we've had a lot of rain, a lot of storms. We've had the sirens going off 2 different times in the last week and a half or so. how are we like? Is this like a not historical amount of rain, but is this like this has been a major rain dump, hasn't it been in our area?
It actually is for November, at least. It is historical.
Wow.
So on Monday we had I don't know the exact number, but it was a little over 3 inches of rainfall, and like 3.59, something like that. That was the most rain in one day in November on record in St. Louis.
Wow. What day was that?
And then we beat it on Tuesday.
Oh, geez. So it is historical.
Monday was number one. Now it's number two because Tuesday's number one. So, I mean, back to back over 3 inches of rain days. And, I would call that historical for sure. And, that's why we're seeing like 141 near 44 in Valley Park flooded because of the Merrimack.
So does this time of, I mean, obviously, that Sunday's a sunny day, but, are we kind of in a rain period right now? Is this going to continue, or is this, this massive, rainfall behind us, you think?
The massive rainfall's behind us, but we are in a pattern where it's spaced out nicely, but every several days we get into this rain chance. So we're getting back into one Saturday, and then we have another one on Wednesday, and it looks like it's a long ways out, so it may change, but the following weekend may have another one. So it's, it's not like we're looking at 14 days of dry weather like we had in, October. But instead, it looks like every several days we get some rain, and then in between we have some dry time, which is great. And it doesn't look like real heavy rain, like a 3, 4, 5 inch rain. But like I said, a quarter inch to an inch of rain on Saturday, that's still pretty solid rainfall.
And last question, because somebody, I can't remember, I was having a conversation one day this week, and somebody was talking about how it's been so unseasonably cold. And I'm like, I don't know. It's because for me, it's one of those, like this time of year, Steve, you could tell me that it's going to be 75, or you could tell me it's going to be 45. And either way, I'd be like, yeah, that sounds about right. So
right.
What like you 59 tomorrow, 67 on Sunday. Is that where we're supposed to be, or is it a little cooler than normal?
So it actually has been above normal for several weeks now.
Yeah.
And the normal is today, I believe it's 59 or 58. That would be the normal high. That's what we're going to be on Saturday, and that's the coolest day in my forecast. And so, we're going to be running a little above normal some days next week. We're at 66, 65. It's not, 75, 80 degrees or anything like that, but it's still about, 5 to 8 degrees above normal.
Yeah. And 67 and sunny on Sunday. I'll take it every time. I'll trade you the Saturday if we get that nice Sunday. So, thank you, Steve, for all of the information as always, and hope you can enjoy your weekend as well, my friend. Have a great rest of your day.
My pleasure. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, you bet. That is Channel 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. All right, we are going to talk to former Missouri State Representative Paul Kurtman and get back into some of the news and politics of the day. We're also going to talk to our buddy Jason Nelson from the Queen Tribute Band about our show coming up on November 30th. We'll do all of that next on Colombo Company.
Hi, Chris Arps here. Join me and the team at Royal Banks of Missouri for their annual Economic Forecast Breakfast. The event takes place on Tuesday, November 19th at the factory in the district in the Chesterfield Valley. You'll hear from their experts and get a better understanding of what to expect from the U.S. economy in 2025 and beyond. Doors open at 7:30 a.m. and the program starts at 8 a.m. Attendance is free, but you do need to reserve a spot. You can RSVP by sending an email to emails@royalbanksnet.com or by calling 314-212-1545.
Hi, Kirk Hilsinger here, and I'm the new chairman of the St. Louis Republican Central Committee. I invite you to our meetings that take place the first Thursday of every month at 3710 Hampton Avenue. You can stay connected with us to learn more about how you can get involved, make your voice heard, and contribute to our shared goals. Together, we can make a difference in the city of St. Louis and the state of Missouri. For more info, visit our new website at stl-gop.com. That's stl-gop.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Are uneven concrete surfaces causing you headaches? Polytime Concrete Leveling and Restoration has the solution. We're a veteran and family-owned business offering long-lasting solutions for all your concrete problems. From precision concrete leveling to our superior restoration services, our precision polyjacking outperforms traditional mudjacking any day. Call Polytime at 636-487-3282 for a free estimate or visit itspolytime.com. Mention Newstalk STL and get $125 off any job of $600 or more, or 10% off your service.
Hey there, Chris Cooper here. Join me every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. on News Talk STL for a little fun with finance. We'll talk about taxes, the economy, finance, and most importantly, how to enjoy the lifestyle you deserve.
Serenity Wealth Now with Chris Cooper. Sunday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Tune in on Sunday and visit serenitynowtax.com for your free copy of my book, The New Holistic Retirement. That's serenitynowtax.com.
Serenity Now!
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. A judge has canceled all remaining court deadlines in Donald Trump's 2020 election interference case. White House correspondent Greg Cluxton reports.
Special counsel Jack Smith requested that the federal judge overseeing the case cancel upcoming court deadlines to give prosecutors time to assess the appropriate course going forward. The move comes after Trump's election victory this week and in light of long-standing Justice Department policy that says sitting presidents cannot be prosecuted. Smith charged Trump last year with plotting to overturn the results of the 2020 election, a case Trump criticized as politically motivated. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Also at townhall.com, Republican Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina says he wants to lead the party's effort to win Senate elections in 2026. Bob Agnew has more.
Senator Scott announced Friday he's running for chairman of the National Republican Senatorial Committee. The role means a lot of hard work in helping fellow GOP senators hold on to their seats in the next election. Republicans will face an uphill climb as they defend 20 of the 33 seats on the election map. Looking through 2026, Scott says, quote, 2 years of a Republican agenda is good, but 4 years of success under Donald J. Trump is even better. Bob Agnew reporting.
Authorities say a 13-year-old boy who had researched school shootings online was arrested hours after he tried to enter a Wisconsin elementary school while armed. Kenosha police say they believe the boy had a firearm when he was stopped Thursday morning while trying to enter Roosevelt Elementary School with a backpack and a duffel bag. The police chief says, "We narrowly missed a tragedy." A higher close on Wall Street, the Dow up 259 points today, and the NASDAQ composite added 17. More at townhall.com.
So understand the impact this election may have on their retirement savings. In less than 30 days, our entire economy could face a monumental shift that could destroy a huge amount of value many Americans have stored in their 401ks or IRAs. In times like these, the most trusted store of wealth in human history stands out: physical gold and silver. Many Americans have looked to True Gold Republic for help. They specialize in helping those with a 401k, IRA, or other retirement accounts convert their stocks and bonds into physical gold and silver to protect their hard-earned savings. True Gold is offering listeners a free copy of their Election Gold Protection Kit today. To claim yours, call 800-300-GOLD. This information is free and might very well save your comfortable retirement. By acting before the election, you can still make a tax and penalty-free conversion with the help of True Gold's award-winning team. Call 800-300-GOLD. That's 800-300-GOLD. True Gold Republic is not a financial advisor. Consult with your tax advisor before investing. Call 800-300-GOLD.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. A low tonight down to 49 degrees, but a cool day. It's actually near normal, but cloudy and wet and cool. 59 for the high on Saturday. We're going to get some showers in here anywhere from late morning, off and on through the afternoon, which looks pretty wet. And then Saturday evening, still some rain, especially in the early part of the evening, about 1/4 inch to an inch. It won't cause new flooding, but it will make wet roads out there for Saturday afternoon to evening. It's going to dry out and turn mostly sunny, though, and warmer for Sunday with a high of 67. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Jewels on Hampton, paying some of the highest prices for your gold, silver, diamonds, and more. Call 314-752-5000 or visit jewelsonhampton.com.
Fox News commentary.
The American people elected Donald Trump, but California already vowed to block his agenda. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Our nation's economic problems have been building for the past 50 years, and they're not going away overnight. Dr. Ron Paul here, and this is why I recommend diversifying your IRA or 401k into gold, a proven bedrock in any economy, with my friends at Birch Gold Group. To learn more, get a free info kit on gold. Text the word shelter to 989898. That's shelter to 989898.
Message and data rates may apply.
After Trump defeated Kamala, a California liberal, and after voters in that state voted to dump liberal politicians like DA George Gascon and voted to end felon coddling with Prop 36, that perhaps even the Democrats in that state would take a hint. But no, in true petty fashion, California Governor Gavin Newsom has already vowed to Trump-proof his state. He called for state lawmakers to convene in a special session in December to safeguard California's abortion, climate change, and illegal immigration priorities from the incoming Trump administration. Once again, California Democrat politicians are making it clear they prioritize big green, aborting babies, and rubber stamping illegal immigration over the well-being of their tax-paying constituents. It's obvious Gavin plans to run for president in 2028, and he's already peacocking his Trump resistance and hope his demolished party will take notice. Keep dreaming, Gavin. A California liberal just lost, and you'll be no different. I'm Tommy Lahren.
So many ways to listen to News Talk STL.
Come join the conversation. All you have to do is say,
Hey Alexa, play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
Welcome back to Colombo and Company on 1019-94.1 News Talk STL. Tony Colombo here in studio with producer Emily. We are trying to make contact with the very busy, very talented Jason Nelson from Somebody to Love, the Queen tribute band. We have a show coming up. Now this is we go from election day to focusing on our concert coming up. So what a life we lead. we lead. Saturday, November 30th. It is going to be a absolute blast. My band, Tony Colombo and the North County Sound Machine, are going to be playing with a Duran Duran tribute band, Duran and Duran, and we are going to also be playing with Somebody to Love, the Queen tribute band. It is going to be an absolute party at Diamond Music Hall, again, on Saturday, November 30th. And, of course, with my band, it's also the return of Katie Fitzpatrick. So it's going to be so fun to be sharing the stage and working with Katie again. And it's just going to be a great night of awesome music and a great party. And we have Jason on the line now from Somebody to Love. Jason Nelson, how are you, my friend?
Happy Friday, everybody.
Yeah,
how are you?
Back at you. So I was just sort of setting the stage there. I'm super excited. You know, what a weird life I lead. You know, my world has been dominated by an election, by a presidential election. And now my focus goes from a presidential election to a concert.
Right.
So, and which
Yeah,
I'll
life
tell
is
you
good,
what,
right?
there's one that's a lot more fun than the other one. So I can't wait. Tell us about how you're feeling about the show on the 30th.
No, it's fantastic. Yeah. When I talk to people about this show, they go, 3 bands? You're going to have 3 bands?
Yeah, we are.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're ecstatic to have you and your band playing, and Duran and Duran and Somebody to Love is thrilled.
Mm-hmm.
November 30th at Diamond Music Hall. We only do this show in the St. Louis region once, maybe twice a year.
Yeah.
So this is the only time in 2024 that we're doing it locally.
Yeah, it's so funny because our band is kind of the same way. You know, we usually only play once or twice a year. And 2024, how weird is this? We played in January, and now we're playing on the last day of November. Basically, the first month and almost the last month of the year are the only 2 times that we played. And, you know, like that keeps it very special. And it keeps it very, you know, like it keeps that excitement level very high, you know, not only for, I hope, you know, the people that come and see us, but, you know, the band ourselves, you know, it's a special time to get together. And Jason, you've been a part of the local music scene for years, and you know what an amazing music scene we have, a local music scene we have in St. Louis, and we have great, very established tribute bands like El Monstero and Celebration Day And I think
Yeah,
Somebody to Love,
yeah.
I think what you have done with the Queen tribute, Somebody to Love, is right up there on that level. And, just an incredible show,
Thank you.
not just musically. The music is spot on. And I mean, the musicianship and Jason's, vocals and, the lead is incredible, but also the lights and the videos and everything else that goes into the Somebody to Love performance. I just feel like it's top notch and, right up there with some of the great other musical projects and acts that we have in St. Louis. So I am super
Yeah,
excited
thank
about
you.
it. Talk about about Somebody to Love a little bit, and the road that you've been on with this project for the last 8 years to get it to the point that it is now.
So this seed was planted about a year and a half before the band formed 8 years ago, and I was deliberate in trying to handpick the players in St. Louis, and 5 backing singers. So Latanya Holland, Darren McClelland, Jessica Butler, Candace Wilbert, and Shelby Carter have been with me for the last 8 years. It's the original lineup, and Alonzo Jameson on drums, which I share Alonzo and his talent with you in your band.
He's pulling double duty that night, and he's
doing double duty.
He's the best. The
Yeah,
best.
Man. And Kevin Lehman on guitar, who is just an amazing musician, a great friend through the years. And we not only do this Queen tribute together, but he also joins me with the Jason Nelson band, and we do acoustic duo shows occasionally, and just very diverse player. So when you see him, he's so conscientious about achieving the Brian May guitar sound and the approach. And we're not going to sound exactly like Queen, but boy, we will die trying.
It's awfully dang close. I was there. I emceed, hosted the first show for Somebody to Love. And as far as your local shows, your St. Louis shows, I think I've only missed 1 or 2 maybe over the last 8 years, whether I was, our band was playing with you or I was hosting the show. So I have watched the evolution up close and personal, and it's been, I mean, you guys were great that very first night at the Ready Room, right? And it's just gotten better and better from there. And
there were so many butterflies that night. Wow, I remember the first show.
Such a cool night.
We're like, can we even do this?
Right. Well, you did it. You did it. Well, now I'm just a bit nostalgic hearing, you tell that story and talk about it, and it reminds me, I don't even know if you remember this conversation. I wouldn't have a band if it wasn't for you. You and I, working on various projects over the years, you had suggested that I do something like this, and it had been suggested to me before by others, and I think you had also, had mentioned it multiple times, over the years that we were working together. And, I am just good enough to fake it. And, I can just do enough to maybe not embarrass myself up there. But, I just feel like a fraud when I'm on stage with the, you and all the talent that we have. And you said, and you were so right. You said, much like other radio folks that have gotten into the music, like the people like, the Smash Band back in the day, and Mark Close, of course, right. And, all those guys,
of course,
and we talked about how we can get, some of the best local talent to be a part of it, because it will, it's not a major commitment because we only do play a couple times a year. And, I remember going into it with the requirements of Perry Woods, who's my best friend. So I knew I could probably get him.
You can rely on him.
And Katie Fitzpatrick, who's also one of my best friends and an amazing singer in, her own right. She was on American Idol. A lot of people don't know that. But those two, and then getting Tilton Yoakley, who is our bass player, who is just a kid that has, I mean, he's the future of the St. Louis music scene. And then Alonzo is, for my money, the best drummer in St. Louis. And I know we have a lot of great ones, and I know we've got a lot of great talent. But what's so amazing to me about Alonzo is, you've got Perry Woods, who's, he's been in many, you've worked with Perry many times, and Perry's played guitar all over the world. And, he's very not afraid to give his opinion or tell you when you're doing something wrong or tell you what he wants to do. But even Perry and then Tilton, who, like I said, is just an absolute musical monster. They all default, like when we're at practice rehearsal, they all default to Alonzo. Whatever he says, that we'll be, talking about some song or some way to end, a song or get into some solo or whatever it may be. And everybody will give their thoughts, and then everybody will say, "What do you think, Zoe?" And whatever he says is what we do, because I mean,
I saw this years ago when I was talking to you and the relationships I built in the scene, which include Alonzo Jameson, the joy that you experience and what comes out of your performances. That's something that I get up on stage every night and want to do again and again. And I knew, talking to you about it, you would geek on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, yeah, man.
Absolutely. So I'm blessed to have this incredible group around me, Katie and Perry and Tilton and Alonzo. I mean, these guys are the best of the best. And so it just makes it so fun. And, it's just a party. It's just going to be such a great time. Got to give a big thank you. We talk about this every time we talk about one of these shows. Weber Chevrolet, Skip Weber, such a huge supporter. He's done so much for the local music scene, with sponsorships and support. I mean, he's attending a family wedding that weekend. Otherwise he would be there. But even when he can't be at a show like this one coming up on November 30th, he still, wants to help the bands and help the local music scene. So huge thank you to Weber Chevrolet. We also have a new sponsor to this show, Great Harvest Bread Company in Maplewood, team that I've been working with for a very, very long time. Also, supporting the local music scene. Just can't thank those guys enough. And it's just going to be an absolute blast. I mentioned at the beginning, you wrap it up. Remind folks where and when this party's going down.
Thank you. On Saturday, November 30th at Diamond Music Hall in St. Peters, Missouri. Get your tickets at diamondmusichall.com. It's going to be Tony Colombo and the North County Sound Machine, Duran and Duran, a tribute to Duran Duran, and Somebody to Love, a tribute to Queen.
It is going to be an awesome time. I think maybe next week or the following week, Jason, let's try to get some of the guys in the studio and maybe do a little
That'd
live.
Be great.
Yeah, do a little live performance in studio here as we get closer and closer to that show. That would be a whole lot of fun. We will talk to you one way or another very, very soon, my friend. Jason Nelson from Somebody to Love, the Queen tribute. Also, don't forget about the Retro Nerds and all of Jason's other projects. Where's the best place to keep up with everything that you do, Jason? What's the best website? Is there like a central hub, because you have so many things going on? Is there a place that people can go to check out the Somebody to Love calendar, the Retro Nerds calendar, the Jason Nelson Band calendar, and all the rest?
The jasonnelsonband.com or theretronerds.com.
Yeah, the retronerds.com. That's great.
Those are the two websites that I update and we update on a regular basis. But a lot going on.
Yeah, no kidding. That's awesome. That's awesome. Can't wait. November 30th, Diamond Music Hall. Go to diamondmusichall.com right now to get your tickets or get more information. And it's going to be a blast. Jason Nelson, thank you so much, as always, for your time, my friend. Great talking with you.
Thank you. Stay well.
Yeah, back at you, my friend. Good one. All right. From the concert stage back into the news and politics. We are going to be joined by our old friend, former show host here at News Talk STL, former Missouri State Representative Paul Kurtman joins us next as we wrap up this busy, historical week on Colombo Company.
News, analysis, opinion.
It almost seems common sense, but, alas, common sense isn't so common these days.
News Talk STL.
This weekend, don't forget, you can tune into the Bluff City Outdoors show. It airs here on News Talk STL every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. and Sundays at noon. It is hosted by me and Mark McMurray from Bluff City Outdoors, who you heard in studio with us yesterday, along with Mike Marfell, who is a local professional fisherman, who is also one of the co-hosts of the Bluff City Outdoors show. It is just like what the great outdoors is for many people in their life. It is a escape, a perfect way to unplug. If you're into fishing, if you're into hunting, if you're into trapping, if you're into the great outdoors in any way, you will love the conversation that we have each and every week on the Bluff City Outdoors show. Also, Bluff City Outdoors in Alton, open 7 days a week, and they can take care of all of your needs for your next trip into the great outdoor. Whether you're going fishing or bow hunting or trapping, they have you covered across the board with all the products and services that you need for all of those areas and more. Bluff City Outdoors, again, is in Alton. It's about a mile east of Fast Eddie's there on Broadway. It's open 7 days a week. And not only do they have all those great products and services, they also have their state-of-the-art archery range that's open every day. You can shoot in it every day there at Bluff City Outdoors. Just a great resource for the outdoor community. Bluff City Outdoors in Alton, Illinois, and the Bluff City Outdoors show every weekend here on News Talk STL. Learn more about Bluff City Outdoors by following them on Facebook and at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
Tim Jones here for AMF Electric. AMF Electric's industrial team, noted for its go anywhere, meet any need, and delivered on-time service. In fact, over the last almost 60 years, AMF Electric has never failed to meet a customer's needed completion deadlines. At AMF Electric, they're unabashedly pro-American. They love to work with like-minded individuals and business owners who believe in freedom of economic choice. Call them, 314-647-4066. Online, amfelectric.com. That's amfelectric.com.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
John Daniel Davidson with the Federalist wrote an article focusing on what those of you who have been attacked repeatedly, mocked, called garbage just for supporting Trump should do now. John writes, after the first Trump assassination attempt, I wrote there can be no national unity, no burying the hatchet, no cooling the rhetoric with people who have been encouraging political violence. You can't smack someone in the face with a hammer, then insist everyone calm down. Trump's election victory does not change that. So says John. Do you agree? Do you want to be graceful and forgiving, or maybe you want to be like two women who had an argument decades ago, hadn't spoken since. They happened to see each other in a store. One smiled and said, "Oh, I didn't expect to smile. I wasn't sure you had forgiven me for the past." The smiling woman said, "Oh, heavens, no, I forgave you. I distinctly remember forgiving you." In other words, she had not forgiven. For me personally, I will not forgive, and I will not forget what the leftists have been trying to do to our nation and will continue to try to do.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
The Cafe Napoli family is adding another great place for you to enjoy. Where? Well, first, let me remind you, you have the original Cafe Napoli, downtown Clayton. Napoli 2, Town and Country. Napoli 3 on the streets of St. Charles, right next door to Napoli C. Plus, Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta in the Chesterfield Valley. And opening soon, Napoli Kirkwood, right downtown Kirkwood Road. Napoli Kirkwood. I want you to know that McGuire Moving and Storage is silver certified, which means McGuire has a quality reputation helping older adults move local or long distance. And something else to know, Josh McGuire, president of McGuire Moving and Storage, is the only certified moving consultant in Missouri. I'll tell you, once you met Josh, you're going to know your move will be easy. And I fully endorse McGuire Moving and Storage. McGuireMoving.com. John Beal knows that right after a hailstorm, new roofing companies start popping up everywhere. But the Small Business Administration reports 96% of them go out of business within the first 5 years. So how good is that warranty? John Beal started in the roofing business, helping his granddad and his dad. Always offering the best roof, best price, best guarantee. John Beal Roofing, not some fly-by-the-night operation. Call my friend John, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
On the next
Larry Connors USA.
We know even before the election, Donald Trump was working on a team to be put in place as soon as he is inaugurated.
Larry Connors USA.
Now, weeknights 6 until 8.
On News Talk STL.
Whatever gets you through the night, it's all right, it's all right. Let your money all you like, it's all right, it's all right. Don't need a salt to drop you flowers.
Welcome back to Colombo Company on 101.9 News Talk STL, wrapping up a busy historical week here, and I can't think of a better way to end at least our part of the week here on Colombo and Company than with our old friend, former show host here at News Talk STL, former Missouri State Representative. Our old friend Paul Kurtman is on the line with us. Paul, what a week. How are you?
Hey, doing great, Tony. Man, what a week it has been. I don't know if I've been as excited about any given week in recent history as I have been about this week. Donald Trump wins. It looks like we're going to have the House and the Senate. The stock market's at an all-time high. The Federal Reserve's cutting interest rates. I think that Donald Trump was on to something in his victory speech when he alluded to ushering in a new golden age for America. And I tell you what, that's an exciting note to go out the week on.
So, Paul, there's so many avenues, so many different lanes you can go down and talk about, the impact of this election and what does it mean and what impact that's going to have on the future. But you just mentioned one, about the economy and the stock market and all that. We actually saw that starting to happen before he was even projected the winner. When it started to look like he had the momentum that this was going to unfold, all of a sudden we're getting these reports about, how the international markets were reacting in such a positive way. With that big resume that I just laid out for you, on top of that is work in the finance world. You have a lot of experience, in the finance world. So specifically talk about that, at least your opinion on the impact that and maybe how quickly the impact of the Donald Trump presidency could have on the economy, on the stock markets, and just, that whole area in general.
Yeah, I think, well, as you said, I think it's having an impact already. When the polls were still open and they were beginning to close, we kind of began to get an inkling of the momentum and which direction it was going. By the time we started to see where the electoral college votes were beginning to land, and we started seeing them really begin to stack and that momentum beginning to build up in Donald Trump's favor, I actually went and started looking at the international market. The next morning, I went and looked at the futures market. The futures market is a good way of trying to figure out exactly what the opening is going to be for the S&P 500 or for the Dow Jones. And, Donald Trump, the idea that he would be the next president is making international leaders begin to readjust their policies. Like, everybody now is shifting in their seats. They're getting ready for a new era of American leadership. And we saw that reflect in the markets, because when the markets opened on Wednesday morning, the S&P 500 opening, like the opening bell, the S&P 500 was already in an all-time new historic high. And that is a direct result of the markets responding to Donald Trump. And I heard some pundits on CNBC saying that very same morning that they were projecting that the market might be down as much as 5% if Kamala Harris would have won. And the reason is because she had this crazy harebrained idea to tax unrealized gains. In other words, just imagine getting taxed on the value of your IRA rather than the cash distributions. That value of the IRA is so volatile. It changes daily. It's an insane plan. It would have been terrible for bureaucracy. It would have required the size of government to grow by leaps and bounds just to track those values. And so when the market saw that Donald Trump was going to win and that we weren't going to have taxes on unrealized gains, this is just one issue, for example, the whole market, the global markets all began responding to a president of America who is going to be a protector of personal and economic freedom.
So correct me if I'm wrong here, Paul, but people will remember that during Donald Trump's previous presidency, unless you've been brainwashed and had the history, your memory rewritten by the Democrats, the economy was fantastic under Donald Trump, and until the pandemic hit, we were in a really good place, and I remember that happening pretty quickly. Now, we're in some deep holes in some areas in this country: crime, the border, the economy, also, wars, other areas. There's no quick fix. There's no magic bullet. There's no snap of the fingers. However, it is pretty amazing how quickly some major impact can be seen with some, elimination of some executive orders and the elimination of certain regulations. Again, I'm not trying to overdo it or say that, it's something that can be fixed overnight, but correct me if I'm wrong. It really is something that Donald Trump or, the right, administration going down that type of path, you can see some pretty big, you get noticeable things happening pretty early on, correct?
Oh, for sure. And look, Tony, I don't know if we've ever seen this before after a presidential election, right? Usually a president gets elected and immediately they start looking at congressmen. They start tapping U.S. senators to fill their cabinet. One of the very first people that Donald Trump had get up and give a speech on policy was Elon Musk. And as soon as I saw Elon Musk get up and talk about how we're going to begin to gut the bureaucracy, I'm telling you, it just put a fire under me. I just got so excited about this because Elon Musk is not just a talker, he's a doer. That's why he's one of the wealthiest, if not the wealthiest man in the world right now. And so to take a doer like that, somebody who understands these principles of micro and macroeconomics, how it works on the world stage, how it works in a business, and certainly how it can work in the government. It is so exciting as a conservative to know that we have a president who's pulling people into the administration who are doers, who have a track record of accomplishing these types of things. So, yeah, I don't think we've ever seen the markets, world leaders move this fast. I don't think we've ever seen policy speeches by people that might be part of a presidential administration the very same week that the president elect was actually given the nomination or actually given the approval by the voters to be our next president. RFK Jr. Boy, I'm excited about this guy. Never thought I'd be excited about this guy, but I'm glad that he's going to be part of the Trump administration. I'm glad that he's going in there and that Donald Trump is giving him a very small niche of things that he's going to let him go to work on. I'm excited about that. I think it's a good thing. So I think that in the next couple of years, by the time the Trump administration has run its course over the next 4 years, especially given the fact that now all the Republicans in Washington, D.C. have been running for the last 4 years on the MAGA ticket because this is what they knew was going to get them across the finish line. Donald Trump has the deck in Washington, D.C. stacked in his favor more than any other president, I think, in American history since George Washington. And it just so happens that he's going there to do the right things in terms of protecting our personal and economic freedom. And I'm super excited about it. I don't think we've ever seen it happen this fast after a president was elected.
Talking to Paul Kurtman, and, you mentioned a couple of names there that I also find to be very fascinating. I think, so I have a personal, not rule, but certain guideline when I'm voting for governor or president, somebody that's going to run, a mayor, something like that. I always look at the background, and I would much prefer somebody who has run a business or has run a president that's been a governor, when it's of course there are exceptions to the rule. Like I said, it's not a rule, but a governor who has run a state, and to me, that is a better candidate, a better experience than a senator or a congressperson. And I look at that way with business owners, even better. Somebody who's managed people, that's managed an organization and had success in that area. You can't find anybody that fits that description bigger than Elon Musk. And Elon Musk doesn't need to be a part of the Trump administration. And it remains to be seen if he will officially be a part of, the cabinet or the administration in some way. But for you, what is it, are you excited about it? Because I am, and you would know better than I would, though, in the economic area, the kind of impact that having somebody like Elon Musk, having the ear of the president of the United States, how good or bad of a thing is that, in your opinion?
I think it's a great thing, and I'm right there with you. The Congress, the House of Representatives, and the U.S. Senate, these are chambers where ideas are to be debated. But it's within the executive branch that we need somebody to organize people, stack them the right way they can be stacked, and economize people so that way they can begin to execute the laws and execute the agenda that the people sent them there to execute. And so I think that having somebody like Elon Musk in there who's run business, and both Donald Trump and Elon Musk, neither one of these guys need to be in government.
Right.
They don't need to be
they're losing money. I mean, they're literally losing money to do this.
Oh, totally. And so to know that they're going there and putting their business, putting their wealth legacy aside just because they have some ideas that they believe that is going to be good for the country, it gives me a lot more hope with their leadership and their background than I do somebody who tried to climb the political ladder. So I'm 100% with you there. And what else is exciting is because Elon Musk is there, we've had more talk since President Trump was reelected on Tuesday about the national debt. This is something we've got to take a look at. And there's been more serious talk about that in the last 4 or 5 days, probably than in the last 4 or 5 years combined.
Yeah, you can blame Democrats and Republicans for the state of the national debt. So maybe a couple people that are not traditional politicians like Trump and Elon Musk could have some big influence there. You mentioned RFK Jr. also. That's very interesting to me. What specifically about RFK excites you?
Okay, so I might have told you this story before back when I was in the studio there at one point or another. I love science. I love medicine. I love the advancements that we've been able to make. But I also know that there is government money deeply embedded inside the medical industry. And I believe if politicians have to disclose how they're getting paid, well, whenever doctors, and this is just it might be a silly example, Tony, but I think it makes the point. Whenever doctors have the wherewithal, the authority, or the prestige, or station in life where they can be telling us what we should and shouldn't be injecting in our bodies, if they're getting any type of kickbacks for the types of prescriptions that they're offering, I think that the patients ought to know about that. In American Greed on CNBC, they had a whole episode dedicated to these doctors that were getting these huge kickbacks from the medical industry based on the amount of prescriptions that they were writing for a particular drug that contained high doses of fentanyl, and which ultimately contributed to the fentanyl epidemic that we have in America. So I like the idea that RFK has that shared skepticism, and he wants to go in there and clean some things and bring some transparency to the industry.
Any other names that specifically stand out to you that you would like to see be a part of this cabinet, of this administration? Because I believe that one of the advantages of the 2024 Donald Trump presidency over the 2016 is in 2016, he was relying on a lot of political advisors. And we know the drama of the turnover in the administration and all the different names that came and went and all the circus that was around that. I think a lesson was learned there, and I think he'll put a much better team around him this time. What are there any other names, specific people that you would like to see be a part of that team?
Yeah, for sure. I can give you a couple people. One, Vivek Ramaswamy, another guy that comes out of the private sector who has great ideas and a really good understanding about America and what liberty and freedom means and prosperity, and also has run businesses. So Vivek Ramaswamy, I think, is a good one. And here's another one. This is kind of an oldie but a goodie. I don't think it's likely to happen, but I kind of would like somebody in Trump's administration to kind of reach back and lean a little bit on Ron Paul, because I do not believe that the Republican Party or the MAGA movement would be where it is today had Ron Paul not started talking about some of the things that he was talking about in terms of personal freedom and the proper role of government way, way, way back in 2008. I know that he's been putting out a lot of videos and has gotten a little bit of attention soon, but where our monetary policy is concerned, we need to really take a look at inflation and what the monetary policy that we have right now, how it works against the American people from one year to the next, especially where the inflation tax is concerned. So I'm really hoping that we kind of lean back into some of those free market thinkers from the past.
You know what? You're talking to somebody who's voted for way more libertarians than any other political party. So here on that type of thinking. I think there is definitely an evolution, happening in both the Republican Party and obviously the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party's evolution is why they lost so soundly on Tuesday. That party has been hijacked by the extreme progressives, and the Republican Party is shaping into something that maybe hasn't been in the past as well. It's super interesting stuff. Only about a minute left here, Paul. Any final thoughts after this crazy week?
Yeah, well, just to your point, I'm not sure that the Democrat establishment is learning the lesson yet. I think a lot of the private sector Democrats are. You got Bezos reaching out to Donald Trump. Never followed him on Twitter until just this week. But then you also got establishment Democrats like Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and they seem to be doubling down on taking the road to the far left, crazy progressive land. But if the Democrat Party wants to start winning some elections, they need to find some Democrats that are very middle of the road and almost feel like a conservative as far as they're concerned. That's just a little bit of free advice for the Democrat Party, because if they double down on crazy, then they can expect elections like this to happen year after year.
I hope we can get more free advice from you sometime in the very, very near future. It's always great to talk with you, my friend. That is Paul Kurtman with us this afternoon. Have a great rest of your day and a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah. Thanks, Tony.
Yeah, you bet. Great stuff there from Paul Kurtman. All right, that's going to do it for Emily and I on this historic week. We will be back on Monday at 2 o'clock. In the meantime, keep it here for the O'Reilly Report next, followed by the Tim Jones and Chris Arp Show to get you to your weekend here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
It's all right. It's all right.
Step into a world of enchantment this holiday season with Cirque Musica Holiday Wonderland. From awe-inspiring acrobatics to gravity-defying aerial feats, it's the perfect fusion of circus artistry and beloved holiday songs in a celebration guaranteed to create memories for the entire family. December 5th, 7 p.m., the Family Arena. On sale at the Carroll House Furniture box office located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster. Inspire your holiday spirit with Cirque Musica Holiday Wonderland.
The Roots and Boots Tour 90s Electric Throwdown with Sammy Kershaw,
That's my story.
Colin Ray,
Oh, that's my story.
and Aaron Tippett. Saturday, November 9th at the Family Arena.
There ain't nothing wrong.
Reserve seats on sale now at the Carroll House Furniture box office located at the Family Arena or at Ticketmaster. Roots and Boots Tour 90s Electric Throwdown.
Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
All your hard-earned tax dollars and mine are going to fund illegal aliens who come across the border penniless, jobless, skillless, and they're given a cell phone, an identity, and a cash stipend every month.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
That beats your Social Security income if you should have the good nature to work.